Good morning, everyone. I'm just getting situated here, so I hope everybody is having a great day so far. It's a gorgeous sunny day here in Victoria, and we can't complain about that. I'm just going to wait a few minutes for some people to join, hopefully. I know everybody may be working at the moment. If you're... Hold on one second here. Okay. And while people are coming in, I am just going to, apply my first coat of color. Today, we are going to be playing with our Ugly Duckling 3D gel, which I'm not sure if a lot of people realize we actually have. So like I said, I'm just going to put on a first layer of color while people get a chance to pop in, get comfy. Just applying a first layer of color. Nothing too exciting yet. Just getting prepared. For those of you wondering, this color is number 108 in our gel polish. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day so far. For those of you who have just joined in, I am Natasha Harton. I'm Ugly Duckling Master Educator. And we are live here today at Ugly Duckling Head Office in beautiful Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I know that my friend and fellow Master Educator, Christical, is online with you guys today, and she'll be in the comments section helping answer any questions you may have about our 3D sculpting gel or any of our Ugly Duckling products. So today, as I mentioned, we are going to play with some of our 3D gel. So we have our beautiful 3D gel. Now you're going to see I've played with this a lot because I really enjoy this product. It comes in this beautiful soft white color, and it mixes beautifully with our gel polish, with our art gel, with our color gel. So you can mix your own shades if you choose to. Today we're going to work with it in just as it is in our beautiful soft white, and we're going to create something like this nail right here. So this nail right here, this is the one that I actually did the other day. So we're going to create kind of like a half flower, and then we're going to fill it in with some Ugly Duckling Clear's Mud crystals, which are just gorgeous. Okay, so I'm going to grab, before everybody kind of jumped in here, you know what, I'm going to put a little mark on my mat here, just so I can make sure that I stay in frame, because sometimes when I'm working I can tend to wander. So bear with me just for a moment. Right about there looks good, probably. Okay. So now I'm going to go back in. I'm using number 108 gel polish. This is a beautiful dusty rose mauve kind of color, and I'm just using it in nice thin even coats. Realistically, I probably could have gone away with one coat with this one, but just out of habit, I always like to do a second coat. Nice even thin coat of that gel polish color. And I am using our, oh my goodness, our tapered square tippies today. This size I'm using is a number 5. When I'm doing display sets, I typically go between number 5, 4, and 3. Those are my favorite sizes. So we're going to pop that in the lamp. We're using our LED lamp here, and I'm going to cure that for 45 seconds. And today, to sculpt with, I'm actually going to use 1/2 of our silicone tool set. So this is the side with the chisel end, and kind of with the end that almost looks like a pen or a pencil. This end is my favorite to use in conjunction with this side every now and then, but this side is my go-to for using to sculpt with our 3D gel. I'm also going to be using a little bit of our gel cleanse just to keep my brush or my silicone tool from sticking to the product. And I have some just in a little jar beside me. And to scoop out our lovely 3D gel, I am going to use our trusty duck paddle. So I'm just going to use the paddle end of the duck paddle. I'm going to scoop out a little bit of the product. Now keep in mind, the 3D gel can dry as you're working with it just from air exposure. So I only take out a little bit as I need it, and always make sure I put the lid back on just to avoid air exposure, and make sure that there's no light exposure, because we don't want to cure product that we haven't used yet. Great, so we've gone ahead, we've done a full cure. Lost my little mark. We've done a full cure on that number 108. Make sure I'm in the frame for you guys. I think I see Mother Duck there too. I've got Crisco and Mother Duck. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm wearing gloves, because when I work anyways, I like to wear gloves just to protect my hands. But also when I work with 3D gel, I tend to use the back of my hand a lot. I'll apply a little bit of gel cleanse just on the glove or water. And then I'm going to use my spatula. We're gonna slice off a little bit of product. And this is what we're gonna use to create our first petal. So again, just putting a little bit of that gel cleanse on my glove. We're gonna roll that product off onto the glove. It's tricky. It's a little bit finicky, but that's okay. So now I've got it, I'm just gonna gently roll it into a little ball. There we go. Move my mark over here. Gently roll it into a little ball. Then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna place it on the nail. Actually, sorry, I've missed a step. Before we start sculpting at all on the nail, I personally like to seal it with matte. I find that working on a matte surface when you're creating any sort of 3D on top of a nail is preferable. Just in my experience, if I work on a surface that has that dispersion layer, inhibition layer still, or if I'm working on a surface that has been sealed with a no white top coat, I find it too slippery, and the design that I'm trying to sculpt slides around sometimes, and then sometimes I also find that it can chip easily off of the shiny surface, because we know gel doesn't necessarily love to adhere to smooth surfaces. So my preference is to seal with our matte, our lovely award-winning matte. So I'm going to pop that in the lamp for a cure. And as that's curing, like I said, I've gone ahead and I've rolled, let's put a little bit, not too much, a little bit of gel cleanse on there. I've rolled this into a little ball for our first petal. So for this design, as I said, it's not alive with me unless I drop something. Okay. Like I said, we're going to be creating these kind of this half open flower here. And what I've done is I've started on the outside petals first, then we'll cure those. We'll work to this, the next two closer to the middle, and then we'll do the middle one last. So we're working from the backwards up. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead here. I just need to grab a piece of paper towel. And we've got a little bit of gel cleanse on here, and we are just going to swipe and reveal that beautiful matte finish. Great. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. Okay, so I've got my first bead. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decide where I want my flower to be. I personally like it on a little bit of an angle. I did try here to kind of do it across the nail half, and that looks nice as well, as long as I didn't bring it to the edge. But I think if you're going to be doing this as a feature nail and you really want to make a statement, I think doing it on an angle like that is really elegant, and that also leaves room for adding a little bit of bling on either end, which is never a bad thing. So we're going to jump back here to our matte sealed nail, and I'm going to apply this first bead of 3D gel. Oh, like I said, we're working with tiny little things here, so it can be a little bit finicky, but now I'm gonna go in. I've got my silicone tool, and I put a little bit of gel cleanse on the end of it. I'm gonna just press that bead down just to make contact with the nail. I'm kind of always making sure that my silicone tool is a little bit damp, but not soaking wet. If it's soaking wet, it's going to kind of break down the product. We just want it so that it doesn't stick. So I've got a little bit on there. Now that I've pressed in to the center, I'm going to start pressing outward. Whenever you're doing petals, you don't want to, I don't go in flat and work from the inside. I always put the tip of my brush or my silicone tool to the center of the petal, and then I press outward. So you'll see here in a minute now. So I'm gonna put the tip of my silicone tool to the center, and we're just applying light pressure, and that's pushing the petal outward. So I've done that in the center. Now I'm gonna go off to the side a little bit here and do the same thing, press out again. My silicone tool is sticking a little bit, so I've got a little bit of gel cleanse on there again, just rolling it on my glove, removing the excess, and same thing, pressing out again. Now, depending on the shape of petal you would like to do, this is the beautiful thing about working with 3D gel also, you guys, is I'm very much an acrylic girl at heart, but working with 3D gel to do 3D designs has opened up a whole new world for me, because I can put this to the side and explain to you guys the difference between the petals, and it's not going to cure unless I put it in the lamp. So you have that flexibility to keep working with your petal until you're happy with it. Or if you don't like it, you can just scoop it right off and try it again. So it is a really nice option as well for those that may be wanting to try 3D, but are a little bit nervous. You have that time and that flexibility to work with it, because it's not going to cure or set until you put it in the lamp. So on this set here, on this nail here, I've made the petals kind of come into a soft point in the center of each one. Whereas in this nail, they're a little bit softer. They're more rounded. They don't come as much to a point. So this is the step where we'll decide what we're going to do. And I think I'm going to bring them to a little bit of a point. So again, I've dampened my silicone tool a little bit. Now that I've pushed out in the center and on either side, I'm going to come back and I'm just kind of gently drag very lightly my silicone tool in the middle, and that'll bring that to a little bit of a point. If you wanted to pull some more of the product out a little bit more just to make the petal a little bit wider, you can. Okay, so I'm happy with this. Now, you could go ahead and you could cure that if you wanted to, but I'm going to work on the other side. So same thing. We're going to come to our palette here. I'm just going to slice off around the same size, the same amount of gel. Now, depending on how much gel you pick up is going to be dependent on how large your petal is once it's placed or pressed out. The larger the bead, the larger the petal will be and the thicker it will be. So for a design like this, I try and not make them too large, because we don't want the petals to look heavy and chunky on the nail, especially when you're doing a design like a flower. You want it to look nice and soft and feminine and airy. So taking a little bit of my gel cleanse, popping that bead on the top of my hand just so I can kind of start rolling it into a ball. I'm rolling it just between my fingertips. Now it's very important, if you are going to be rolling it like I am between your fingertips, so please wear gloves. we don't want to risk overexposure to products. So now if I was working on a client, because I'm right-handed, this is kind of awkward, I would flip their hand so that their nail is facing like this to me. And we're going to repeat the same process on this side. So coming in, I'm going to create the center of my petal just by pressing down. That's making contact with the nail, and we're kind of blending that bead so it's not going to move around when we're starting to press it out. Same thing, I'm going to come in the center and just press down on my silicone tool. I'm anchoring my silicone tool at the point of the petal and then anchoring my silicone tool like this and then pressing out. And you can see the silicone tool flex like this. It's pushing the product out like that. Okay, so I've done the center. I'm going to press out on the side, on this side, and we're just going to bring it to a little bit of a point. So we've got our first 2 petals of our half flower. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pop that in the lamp. I recommend curing our 3D gel for a full cure for 60 seconds. But for this, because I'm going to be doing multiple cures, I'm going to flash cure it for about 30 seconds. Just going to look through here. I've got my Ugly Duckling team in the comments. They're so helpful. Thank you guys for your help. Hi. Oh, hi, Susan. Hi, Tina. Okay, Christina. Oh, there's so many friends in here. Thank goodness. Hi, Sandra. Okay, so now I've got our 2 petals established. So now we are going to start working on the more inner petals. So we're doing the 2 on the outside. Now we're doing the 2 on this in the middle-ish, and then we're going to do the very center one last. So same steps as before. Now at this point, you could, depending on how large you want your overall flower to be, you could make the petals a little bit smaller, but I think I'm going to make them around the same. So again, slice off some product. That looks like a little much to me, so, and very much is trial and error with getting the sizing of the petals. When I was practicing at home and playing at home, a lot of times I pick up a bit of product and I'm like, oh, that's too much. That's okay. I'm just going to put it back on the main pile and then re-slice some off. It's no problem. The flexibility of working with the 3D gel is really wonderful. And I mean, like I said, I'm very much an acrylic girl, but I just love working with our 3D gel. So now I'm going to place the first petal, or the second petal, the third petal. I can't count today. I'm going to place it near the side of the other, the first outer petal. Same step as before. We're just going to press in to the center just to anchor it on the nail, making sure my silicone tool is not too dry. And we're going to press. Now, when I'm pressing, I'm okay if it kind of overlaps on the other one. That's no problem. Pressing out. And I'm not worried about making it completely symmetrical. Like, I don't want it to be totally smooth and totally even on either side, because that's just not how nature is. So this one kind of is swooping to the side a little bit, and I kind of like that. It's looking a little bit thicker on this edge here. And because I'm thinking, okay, we're going to be putting another petal, a larger petal in the middle, I kind of maybe want to just thin that out a little bit. And you guys notice, whether you're working with acrylic or 3D gel, with our silicone tool or our 3D brush, my tip and the way I like to do it, like always, is when I'm pressing out, I anchor the point of my tool or my brush in the center of the petal and press outward like that with the back of the brush or the back of the tool. That's going to help push that product up and out and kind of create those ridges rather than just completely flattening your 3D. But that's my style. So if you like to flatten it more, then that's okay. There's more than one way to do something. We're going to pick up more product. Just working on my glove. Roll it a little bit. Okay. And I'm gonna get away with plopping it. There we go. Sometimes it sticks to the glove, but so far so good. So I'm gonna scoot that over just a little bit because it was down a little bit too low. I'm gonna anchor that to the nail. Come in and I'm working backwards. So pressing out, pressing that towards the other petal, and we'll have this one just pulled down a little bit. You see that there? I think I want it over a little bit more, just to kind of overlap a little bit on that first petal. Okay. We're gonna go ahead, and we're gonna pop that in the lamp for a cure. Just seeing here. Hi from Ohio. Hi Kathy, AR Nail Supply. Hi Teresa. Thanks you guys for stopping in today. It is very important to wear gloves when you're working with any product, really, just to make sure that we're not exposing ourselves too much or overexposure. Just being safe while you're working is very, very important. All right, we're hopping back in. By the way, if you have never seen it, this is one of my must-have products. This is our crystal tip display. I don't have the full set with me, but it does come with a beautiful crystal bar also. And this is a must if you like to work on display tips like I do. It's just so handy. The crystal we've made a little bit larger, so it's really comfortable to hold. And it's very sturdy and it's really sparkly. So that's always a plus too. All right, so let's go ahead and build that center petal. This one I am going to pick up a slightly larger bead because I want that petal to just really open up and blossom. So I'm gonna repeat the same step as we've been doing. Picking up some of our product, putting a little bit on my glove here. We're gonna roll that into a ball. Now, I'm gonna place this on the nail just to see the size. You know what, that's probably pretty good. If it's not, no worries. These layers are cured, so guess what? We can scoop it off with this, the chisel end of our silicone tool, and it'll be like it was never even there. Okay, so I'm going to anchor this petal, but I'm going to anchor it a little bit higher. I'm going to flip my client around. You know what? I'm not happy with where that is. So a little bit of gel cleanse on my chisel end. I'm just going to pop that bead off, put it on my crystal, my crystal dapping dish, because I didn't like where that was sitting. It was up too high, I think. So I've just got a little bit of excess product here. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and pick that up again. Roll it on the nail. All right. I think we're back in business. So I'm going to anchor that bead down, and I'm kind of pulling and I'm blending it a little bit with the surface of the nail. And this one, we've got a bigger bead, so I want to overlap it a little bit on this petal and on this petal. So we're just going to push over to the sides. Really open up that petal. This one can be a little bit tricky because you are working over top of existing product underneath. So if you don't like it, just pull it off and redo it. It's not a problem. But so far, I think this is working kind of how I want it to. So we've got that center petal. And now we've got lots of room to add bling. So in this one here, I've added a few little petals underneath. I think I may add just a small one here. Maybe just a small one down here. I'm not sure, but you know what? That's the beauty. We can put it on. If we don't like it, we can take it right off. So quite a small bead in comparison to what we have been using, because I don't want this to be as large as the petals we've created. I just want it to be a dainty little leaf. So I'm going to take off some of that actually. I'm going to try and pick up this little tiny bead without dropping it. And wish me luck, because I had some espresso this morning, so trying to be delicate is hard when your hand is a little shaky. Okay, let's roll that little tiny guy. And we're gonna go ahead and place that, hopefully, maybe not. I'm just gonna, you know what, I'm gonna drop it on my crystal palette. There's so many crystal things, it's hard to keep them straight. Okay, we're gonna place that just kind of down here. Same thing, just gonna anchor that, just lightly press into the very point of that tiny little leaf. And we're just gonna press out. And this one, I am going to drag down to a point because this is a little leaf. And we've kind of almost created a little vein down the center, just like we would see in a real leaf. I'm just blending that a little bit more with the nail. You can kind of come in and perfect if you want to. Oops, okay, got a little bit of product here. So I'm just using the chisel end of my tool with a little bit of gel cleanse on there, just wiping up if there's any streaks or anything like that so they don't cure. Maybe I'll cure that and I'll add one more right over here. This is the thing, it's easy to get carried away when you start doing designs like this. It's super easy to get carried away. So I've got a selection here of our, and please excuse, they don't have the beautiful black header cards on them because I was playing with them because they're so pretty. So we've got, I've got a selection of sizes of our crystal flatbacks. And then I've also got two sizes here of our white opal flatbacks, which are just so pretty. And they probably, I don't know if it shows on the camera, but they're so sparkly in real life. And I find that these, of course, crystal is totally versatile. It goes with anything. And white opal does too. And a white opal, I feel, kind of adds like a very elegant touch. So we are going to incorporate that. Last night I got a little adventurous, you guys, and I broke out some of our pointed backs. So this is one of our square pointed backs in Crystal. Can you help me? It's the very soft pink color, light rose, I believe. I could be wrong, but Crystal, the Crystal Master, will back me up in the comments. But this is the square pointed back, and it's so pretty. And it is on an angle, of course, because it is pointed back, but you know what? I just put some shtick underneath there and added some flat back crystals all around and some caviar beads, and it just made a really beautiful cushion around that square pointed back crystal. Okay, back to our design here. We're gonna add one more tiny little leaf just around here. So I'm gonna pick up another small bead of the gel. Going to my glove here. I'm going to roll that. Theoretically. So if you're doing this on a client, definitely book a little bit of extra time. Whether you're doing 3D acrylic or 3D gel, you always want to make sure you book extra time just to allow for you to be able to create. So tiny, it's just not wanting to move anywhere. Okay, hold on. I think we help, you guys. Okay, we got it. All right, so we're gonna stick that on the nail. Go back to my trusty silicone tool. We are going to, and now, actually, you know what? I'm going to use the chisel end because I really want to flatten that little bit there. We're going to see how this looks. We may end up taking this one off, but like I said, that's the beauty of 3D gel. Press this out. Now, this is kind of good that this happened because sometimes when you're working very thin, I don't know if you guys can tell, but it starts to rip a little bit. That's okay. You can A, take it off, or B, you can just, oh, we're going to take that off because it's got a fluff in it. We're going to take that off for sure. We don't want fluff in there. So I've just got a wipe here and I'm just using a little bit of gel cleanse on the chisel end, and we're just going to swipe that extra product off. Clean your silicone tool if you need to, if there's a buildup, and then just come back and clean off the excess. There's a bit there. That's okay. All right, you know what? I'm gonna leave it because I feel like that was being a little bit forced. So there's room here to put maybe a few caviar beads and then trickle some crystals down. Let's get into the crystal work. So we have got our trusty crystal friend, our blinger here. And I'm just going to put out a few crystals just so I have them readily available. Now, if I worked like my friend Christical, which probably would have been easier for me in this situation, I would have a little dish with mixed ones. And I used to bug her about that all the time, but now, I hate to admit it, I can appreciate her little dish of mixed crystals and caviar beads because it's easy to reach for stuff. You have everything there readily available. Okay. Yeah, a little bit more. There's never enough bling, is there? Really? Let's be honest. Just make sure I try and keep them somewhat separate so I can put them back into their correct homes. All right. And I'm also just going to be using some random little caviar beads that I've collected in my travels. Okay. Typically I wouldn't, I'm like, ooh, yellow and gold together, or gold and silver together, but I actually really like it. So we're gonna grab our trusty stick-it. Nice, lovely stick-it. Now for our friends further north or further into central Canada that get cooler weather, sometimes your stick-it may not be clear like this. It may appear milky or cloudy or gritty. No problem. If that ever happens to you, just stick the lid right back on, do it nice and tight, and let it soak in some pre-boiled water for about 10 minutes or so, and it will bring it right back to this gel consistency, and it will have no adverse effects to its to the product. It'll be just fine. So I'm using the dotting end tool, or the dotting end of my blinger tool. And we are just going to start, I'm going to start working in the middle-ish. So I'm applying some of that gel, some of the stick-it. I'm going to start with my largest crystal, which is, this is an SS12 white opal. And then I'm just going to start working outwards. So I'm going to take one of our crystal ones. Yeah. And then maybe another white opal. And I'm going to lay my crystals first, and then we're going to go back and we're going to fill in with some caviar beads in different sizes and different colors. That's the method to my madness, I think. That's what works for me. I'm going to need a little bit more stick-it because there's not quite enough here. Oops. If you're ever having issues with losing stones with Stick It, 99% of the time it's that there just hasn't been quite enough product applied. So if you are ever having issues with that, just be sure that you're applying enough of the product that when you place the stone, it kind of just gently comes up around the outer rim of the stone. But of course you don't want so much that it's going to come over top of the stone, because you don't want to lose that beautiful shine. I'm thinking. Let's place one up here, and I've got a little bit more than I need because I want to also make sure that there's enough for some caviar beads to be applied. Hopefully I'm doing Crystal proud. Okay, so I am just going to put my lid on my Stick It just to avoid any light exposure. Now I've got some existing product on the dotting end tool, or dotting, oh my goodness, the dotting tool end of my blinger. So we're just gonna start using that existing product to pick up some beads. And I'm not being particular as to which ones are going where. I just really want to fill in space. And I find that caviar beads really make things look super fancy and super elegant. And they're great fillers. Ooh. I got some jumpy ones today. Press that in there. Not that one there. So we're kind of making the crystals like the pollen of the flower. Okay, some here, maybe one here. Let's see how that looks. Good, and then maybe I'll just put one small one here and just pull it away a little bit, just so it kind of creates that half circle look. One more here, just one more. Famous last words, just one more, just one more. Okay, Tasha, know when to stop, know when to back away. So just to hold this in place, I'm going to flash cure this in my lamp, because I'm going to do a final cure at the end. I just want to make sure that those crystals are held in place and that they're not going to slide anywhere on me while I go ahead and I add some more kind of around the edges. I'm definitely going to try this. Yes, Christina, I can't wait to see. I made the flower with our 3D gel, and don't worry, this live video will be shared on the Ugly Duckling Facebook page as soon as it's done, and we'll also be posting live videos that we do on Facebook on our Ugly Duckling YouTube channel as well. So just to recap while that's curing, today I've used our lovely 3D gel in our soft white. It comes in just soft whites. We wanted to do that so you have the flexibility as the artist to be able to mix your own colors if you choose to. This mixes wonderfully with our gel polish, with our color gel, and with our art gel. So the possibilities really are endless with a nice white base like this. So I used our 3D gel. To sculpt, I used our silicone tool. This comes in a 2-pack, so there's 4 tools technically all together on 2 handles. The one I used today in particular was this chisel end and this kind of pen end. I'll call it a pen or pencil end. I'm not too sure what it actually is called, but that's what I call it. So I used our silicone tool. I also used our beautiful blinger. Nice wax end on one end, dotting tool on the other, and the great thing is these wax ends are actually replaceable, so if your handle is still in beautiful shape and you just need a new wax end, you can buy the replacement wax ends on our website. I used our duck paddle, which is another double-ended tool, our nice paddle on one end and the scoop on the other. This is a must-have if you like to do sugared nail art. I use this all the time. But today I used the spatula end just to scoop out our product and to slice off little beads to create our petals. I also sealed with our beautiful matte top coat. My base color is number 108 gel polish. And last but most definitely not least, I used a selection of our clearest mud crystals. I used a white opal and then crystal in various sizes. So all of these items, of course, are available on the Ugly Duckling website. We also have a full list of our distributors on our Ugly Duckling website. If you go to the distributor tab all the way at the bottom of the page, you can find your closest distributor to you. If you have any questions or you would like to register with us, you can definitely send us an email to contact@uglyducklingnails.com, and we will be more than happy to register you for an account. We do require proof of certification or proof that you are a working professional nail technician upon registration, but please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or if you'd like to register. Okay, so let's finish this off. I'm going to add just a couple more, maybe just a couple here and a couple there to finish it off. And then I'm going to take, oh gosh, tighten this real good. I'm going to take some no wipe and just go in the little cracks here where there may be any exposed stick-it. If you didn't want to go back with the no wipe after, you could theoretically put a thin application of no wipe over top of the uncured stick-it. But sometimes when I'm applying more than just a few crystals, and as the warmer weather gets closer, I find that sometimes the crystals may slide a little bit. So my preferred method is to apply the crystals, and then if there's any exposed stick-it, you can go back with no wipe and apply a little bit of no wipe. Or alternatively, you could apply a little bit of gel cleanse to lint-free wipe and just kind of scrub that area, get rid of the inhibition layer, and then get your client to wash their hands. So we're just going to pick up, I'm only picking up what I need. I'm not picking up any extra because I'm working on a matte nail. Worst comes to worst, if I needed to, I could always reseal the nail with matte, but if you don't need to, then that's always nice. It's nice to work smart, not hard, right? I mean, working hard is fine, but if we can avoid an unnecessary step, then we should definitely try. We're just going to keep it simple. I feel like this needs something right here, maybe one up here. Just ever so lightly touching that nail with a little bit of stick-it because I'm applying a super small bead there. And then I'm going to apply, I think, a larger one. Nope, that looks silly. Let's apply another smaller one. Okay. Kind of like it's trickling down. And then up here, I'm going to add one of the white opal. This has to be one of my favorite crystals. I just love the white opal so much. And a couple of the gold smaller beads. There we go. See, you can never stop. You always see somewhere where you could add more. Okay, let's leave that as is. I think I'm happy with that. We're just gonna pop that in. And then I'm taking my no wipe, which doesn't look like I have. Just 1 second, I just have to grab my no wipe, I think. There we go. just going to place some on my palette here. Move my crystals out of the way. Well, those are mixed now. I tried so hard to keep them separated and they're mixed. That's okay. Okay, I'm applying some No Wipe just to my palette, and I'm going to take my striper brush, which is another favorite of mine, and I'm just going to apply a bit of No Wipe on my brush, not a crazy amount because I don't want to go over the crystals. I just want to focus on if there's any areas kind of in between, any large areas. And this will also help. This is just kind of added measure to make sure everything stays put. And also, sometimes caviar beads can tarnish or lose their color. So I like to try and cover those caviar beads just so there's no discoloration or they don't lose their coloring. Keep your design looking as nice as possible for as long as possible. Just in here, in between those larger stones, a little bit there. Just very, very lightly going over these guys. Okay, let's pop that in the lamp. And then our 3D half flower is all done. I hope this made sense for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed watching. If you have any questions, as always, we are always available on, what was I saying? We are always available to help. We love to help you if you're having any questions about the product or anything. We like to try and help as best we can. So you can contact us at our contact email, which is contact@uglyducklingnails.com. Or you can also reach out on our Ugly Duckling support group, which we have here on Facebook. It's just Ugly Duckling Nails support group. There are a lot of other ducklings in there who post daily just with work that they've done or questions they have about the product, color suggestions, all that sort of thing. So it's a great place to connect with other ducklings. And if you guys have any questions, I'm just going to look up here quickly, but I think my team has done an awesome job about helping me. So thank you very much to Yvonne and Christical. Yes, we are going to be using Facebook a lot moving forward, but we will always announce where we go live. We just find that, what do we find? No. Yes, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm so sorry today. Yes, we are going to be doing a lot more lives on Facebook, so we hope to see you guys here. And thank you so much for joining us this morning. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And if you're just joining now, no worries. This will be available for playback. As soon as the live is finished, we are going to post it on the wall. So, oh, Priscilla's here too. Thanks, Priscilla. Oh, I had my whole team here. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you later. Bye.